I gotta say, this is one of the more ghetto unboxings I've done in a while. That's literally all there is to it. You got your brown box, and then you got this protection, and then you have the bag that says Kuu K2 on it, and that's basically it. Wow, that's actually really, really ghetto. Alright, let's get started with the unboxing of the Kuu K2. Very plain brown box. There's not even any writing on it. It's just basically a brown box. Pretty interesting. Never actually seen that before. And I've unboxed quite a few laptops. So let's see what we got here. Another brown box. And that's your charger. Okay. Okay. And what's in here? We have a instruction manual in a couple of languages. Looks pretty useless. It's just really random stuff. It tells you like the model, it's the S book, your Intel 14.1 inch screen, 1080p resolution, Bluetooth, and then up to a 1 terabyte M2 expansion slot and a 37 watt hour battery. Useless as well. Let's look at what else we have. Wow, this is okay. I gotta say, this is one of the more ghetto unboxings I've done in a while. That's literally all there is to it. You got your brown box, and then you got this protection, and then you have the bag that says Kuu K2 on it, and that's basically it. Wow, that's actually really, really ghetto. Yeah, okay, let's look at the laptop itself now. Okay, this is the actual laptop itself. Wow, that's really heavy. I'm gonna say this laptop is not light. It's really heavy. There's actually a lot of protective plastic covering it. I'm gonna take it all off and then we'll talk about the laptop itself. Okay, and we should be good. That's 2 down. Let's open up and see if we have any plastic on the inside. And yeah, we got a lot of plastic in here, dude. This thing has a lot of plastic on it. I mean, if you like the environment, maybe you don't get this laptop. There's one here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 pieces of plastic already. And then we've got plastic here as well. Wow, that's a lot of plastic. That was 6 pieces of plastic. Then again, I'm not complaining because it keeps it nice and clean. Okay, now we can actually go over the actual laptop itself. Like I said, it's a very heavy laptop. This is definitely aluminum or metal. It's 99% aluminum. It's otherwise it would be like 15 pounds. And then it's a nice champagne color. It's pretty normal in terms of color for laptops nowadays. And then you've got the K logo. Let me rotate it so that you guys can see it. And then we've got the K logo here. It's embossed. Actually, no, it's not. No, that's definitely a sticker. Okay, anyway, turning it over, we have rubber feet, 2 here and a nice long one here to elevate it. And then we've got a nice big vent for air to escape, which is good because this has a Celeron J processor, which is a lot more powerful than the Gemini Lake processors. And then we've got a sticker here, and let's look at the ports of this laptop. Okay, so on this side, we've got a micro SD card slot, a headphone jack, as well as a USB port. Okay, very nice. And on this side, we don't have another USB slot. We only have one USB-A down on this side. And then here we have the charging port, a USB-C port, which I don't think supports charging, but I'll test that out. And then a micro HDMI port. So I'm a little bit disappointed this only has one USB-A port at the bottom, but one is better than none. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, opening it up. Can I open it with one hand? Barely. You can see it how it comes up, and interesting. That right there Is that metal? I can't tell because it's a tiny bit warm, so it might be plastic. Let me test it out more to see what we got there. And then we have a keyboard here. Okay. I quite like this keyboard layout. The keys are nice and big, and it's edge to edge. You can kind of see that it kind of rounds out at the sides and it kind of spills off the sides of the laptop, which I like because bigger keys, for me at least, are better. We've got full-size arrow keys. I like that. Also, huge page up, page down, and then we've got a couple of keys here. Okay. So far so good. The keyboard quality though, as I'm touching it, it feels a little bit plastic. Put it that way. Feels a little plastic. Not the highest quality, definitely. And then here we have a pretty interesting mouse pad with what seems like you're able to switch between a mouse pad and a number pad, assuming you've got an actual mouse installed. And then, okay, so we're gonna test that out and see how that works. Power button, and then we also have your speaker grills here. Well, this is like kind of like a speaker grill, but you only actually have real speakers here and here. Okay, let's look at the actual screen. Okay, let's take a quick look at the screen for a second. Bezels are actually quite thin. Notice how on both sides here we basically have 5-6 millimeter bezels, actually maybe even 7, which still is quite thin. And at the top we've got maybe 7-8 millimeter bezels, which is actually makes this laptop look really nice. And on the bottom we've got bigger bezels. That's basically an inch right there. And then we also have it. Okay, take a look here. We have a webcam with a kind of like slidey thing, so you can actually block it so people can't see you. That's actually quite interesting. Looks like privacy is a real issue in China. Not surprised. Okay, anyway, let's move on, turn on the laptop and see what we got. Okay, so I went ahead and set up the computer so that you wouldn't have to watch me set it up, which is really boring. And I also attached a Bluetooth mouse to this computer. It's just a crappy verbatim Bluetooth mouse, so you know Bluetooth works on this laptop. Mouse itself is not that great, honestly, because I bought it for like $8. Okay, first things first, let's look at the hard drives and see what we have here. Okay, so I see here we've got 2 hard drives, which I've seen a lot of laptop companies do. What they basically do is they have a 64 gigabyte eMMC drive where they install Windows, and then they have a 180 or 200 gigabyte SSD so that they can have marketing and say, oh, we've got a 200 gig SSD plus a 64 gig, so that gives us like 250 gigs of space. I never got that. It's just so stupid. Just install everything on your SSD and be done with it because your eMMC is going to be really slow. Okay, so let's go check the devices and see what kind of SSD and what kind of eMMC we have. And oh, what? Oh, I see what happened. Okay, so they didn't actually give us 2 hard drives. It's basically 1 SSD, which is very good, 1 SSD, but they partitioned it into 2 separate volumes, which I don't understand. At least you can combine them back pretty easily, and I'll probably do that later. But good thing is that this is still connected to or installed on an SSD. Okay, let's take a quick look at the video and the audio, and then we'll take a quick break and maybe try some Stardew Valley. I don't know, we'll see. And then I'll probably end the video after that. Okay, so first we'll look at video and see how good it looks. I'll use this video because it's what I use, and
this is Tyler.
Annoying
Tyler,
ads.
with Brentwood's help, is writing an email to his boss, Anita. Tyler sits just.
Okay, let's pause that. And actually, you know what? Let's play. Oh, that's actually going to be quite intense. That's 4K at 60 FPS. Okay, 4K at 60. Let's see if it plays well. I'm going to turn the volume off so I can talk. Okay. And let's see. Impressive. Okay, so now we know that this Celeron J4115 actually works pretty well. Okay, so that means that it's actually much more powerful than the Gemini Lakes N41 and N4200s. And okay, let's talk about the screen for now. The screen here is actually an IPS but it's matte, which I love. And I know there are other reviewers out there who love matte screens, right? Glossy screens are just really not my thing. The colors here are, they're okay. I mean, you know what? While this is playing, let me grab my tablet and play the exact same thing, because then you'll be able to see the color difference. Even on like a tablet, like the color difference is remarkable. So let me play it at the same time. Okay, so I'm gonna play them both at the same time. Oops, I forgot it's not touchscreen. And you'll notice how much better quality even this tablet is, and this tablet's not that expensive. That being said, a big screen, as you can see, the LCDs are obviously going to be a lot more expensive. The one thing I noticed is that this one isn't very bright. So let me turn it. Well, it's actually already at maximum brightness. So it's not super bright. It looks to be around 250, 300 nits of brightness. And as you can see, just look at the red in the parrot on both. And I mean, even the green, it's a lot more vibrant on the tablet than it is on the laptop. That being said, if you look at the laptop by itself in a vacuum, which I'm gonna do right now, it's still a pretty good screen. I mean, looking at it, I definitely wouldn't be complaining that much, saying that the screen is bad, because it's decent. I mean, it's got decent colors. The brightness is not the highest. I mean, that being said, tablets are generally in a completely different category than laptops. And yeah, I really have no complaints really about the screen, especially at this price point, because I think right now it's going for like $300. Okay, let's move on to audio. All right, have a listen for yourself. Bass drop now. And again. Okay, so as you heard, I really wasn't that impressed with the audio. Like the audio here is really nothing special. In fact, it's below average. Like the volume is not super loud, and the quality, like it basically sounds like a cheap laptop at this point. So yeah, not very impressed. Okay, let's move on to just a little bit of general browsing around the web and testing out the two-finger scroll. So I'm not using my mouse anymore, but I'm using two-finger scroll, and I gotta say that the two-finger scroll here is actually really smooth. I'm really impressed. Like at this point, like the two-finger scroll here is like, okay, it's not as smooth as an iPad, or not an iPad, like a MacBook or like your XPS 13, but it's pretty close. Like I would say you're like at maybe 85% of the smoothness here. And the rest is basically down to processor power. And actually, I just noticed I am on battery saver because I'm running out of battery as well. Yeah. But yeah, so far so good. What I'm seeing here, so this is a cheap laptop, obviously, right? This laptop is $300. Let me just open up the web page. Kuu K2 year best. So this laptop is $300, and it's super cheap. Like you're basically getting a 8GB RAM with a minimum of a 256GB SSD laptop for $299. And from what I can tell, it seems like they made the right sacrifices in the right places. That being said, I've only spent like maybe an hour with this laptop, but I mean, I've gotten a pretty good feel of laptops over the years, and that's annoying. And yeah, I can tell. And the one thing I will say is that what will probably make or break this is the battery life. See that? It says standby time of 12 hours and use time of about 5 hours. That's gonna make or break this laptop, because if the use time is below 5 hours, that's gonna be really bad. That's gonna really kill this laptop. And yeah, so again, I'm excited to test it out. And we'll see what we have in the future. And I'm also interested to test out this dual use touchpad that I just showed you guys. And yeah, so stay tuned for the full review. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.